Hello and welcome to the Sunbeam Alpine channel. We're back in Oily Puddle's garage, and today I've got to deal with a leaking pinion seal on the differential of the Sunbeam Alpine Series 5. As with all the videos on this channel, I'd remind you I'm not a mechanic, I'm just an enthusiastic amateur long-term Alpine owner trying to keep this lovely old car on the road without spending too much money. Now, the pinion seal has gone. I suspect that's because when we fitted a replacement differential, you might remember we put a 3.7 differential in this car to raise the gearing quite considerably, about 2 years ago now. That differential had been sitting on a shelf in someone's garage for however long. I suspect that the seal had dried out a bit because it's been leaking oil for some time now. Well, I'm not going to strip the differential down. I don't want to get involved in changing the shimming and the backlash and preload and all the rest of that. Far too hard. What I intend to do is mark everything up first, take the nut off, replace the oil seal with a brand new one, refit it, and then torque it back up to 110 pounds as the manual says, and line every mark up, and hopefully that will keep the differential exactly set as it is now. First thing we've done is undo the bolts, pull the prop shaft out, and have a look at the condition of that. Well, we found that one of the UJs was quite worn, so as a precaution I've replaced both of the universal joints in the prop shaft. If you want to know how we do this, there's a separate video that we recorded some time ago showing us changing the UJs on another car. I've cleaned the axle up quite a lot here. It was totally wet with oil running out of the front where the pinion seal is. Here you can see the nut that we're going to undo. That will be very tight, 110 foot-pounds that is done up to. You need an 1 1/8 socket for this job to undo that nut. I've marked across the drive coupling, the nut, the end of the shaft and the body of the differential. All of these lines need to stay in line. The nut is off and you can see the markings on it, and there is the heavy duty washer still over the shaft and inside the drive coupling. I'll pull that out with a magnet. With the nut and the washer off, you just need to pull the drive coupling out of the oil seal and off of the shaft. I've made up this little puller tool out of an old tyre lever. These two bolts will go into the flange, and this central hole is threaded. The bolt will thread in and push off. Got a nut here with a nylock end just to protect the threads on the end of the shaft. And a lot gentler on the parts rather than bashing anything with a hammer or whatever. This should just pull it off. Here you can see the tool in place, ready to pull the drive coupling off of the shaft. The tool pulls it off nice and easily without too much stress on anything. Now we can pull the seal out and get it back together again. Here you can see the seal that we need to change. This is the one that's been leaking. See, I've drilled a small screw into the bottom of the seal, self-tapping screw, and I'll just use a claw hammer to pull that seal out now. There we go. Nicely done, no problems. Now I will clean up the hole and fit the new seal. There are various different sized pinion seals that Roots used. This isn't a standard Alpine differential. This has come from one of the performance hunters, and it clearly uses the smaller of the two seals I've got here, Whether this is standard Alpine or not, I don't know, but be aware there are different sizes. I will put just a little smear of well seal around the outside of the seal and on the inside of the casing of the differential. Just give it a couple of minutes to go off. Then I will push this into position and put a little bit of oil around the inside lip where the seal actually grips on to the drive coupling. I've got a little piece of pipe here that's just perfect for driving seals like this home. It's just under the size of the seal and will help me to get that lined up and fitted into the front of the differential. Okay, now I've put a bit of oil on the drive coupling there and a bit of oil on the teeth it's going to go in with, and now I'll refit this and line up all the marks I made when we started. We're lining the marks back up to where they were. We're going to put the big heavy washer and the nut on and try and tighten everything up so it's 110 foot-pounds and everything lined up. You can see here at 80 my marks aren't quite in line. I need to come round just a little bit more. So now we'll give it a go to 90 and take it to 100 and 110 and see how much movement we get. Okay, it's quite hard to show it in the video, but every one of my marks is now absolutely in line as it was when I started. The torque wrench is clicking off at 110, which is what it's supposed to be. And hopefully we've got a nice oil tight seal here on the pinion now.